I won't be here long, guys. I do apologize. I know I have been getting the question, why did you take the other live down? I'm going to go ahead and just kind of share with you why I took it down. And then I got a few things that I want to share with you. So this is going to probably be about 20 to 30 minutes long because guess what? I have an interest meeting to host at 8:30 p.m. Central Eastern Standard Time. Why do I keep saying Central? Eastern Standard Time on tonight. And I think I probably got a few more registrants that I have to email. If you have registered for this meeting and you have not received the information, oh, okay, looks like I think I've emailed everybody. If you have not received the information, then please let me know. I will try to make sure that I get the information to you. So I took down the last video, and let me tell you why. Hey, Chrissy, how are you? Beautiful. Hello, Sister Rose. How are you? God bless you. Landa Panda, how are you? She's divine. How are you? I pray that you guys are having an amazing day. I'm not going to stay on here very, very long because, like I said, I got an interest meeting at 8:30 p.m. And I want to make sure that I'm on time for that. And it's for those of you who are interested in joining Vision Mentorship, the Vision Mentorship, Vision Prep Mentorship. For those of you who say, hey, I have a call on my life and there are some things that God wants to do in it through me. So I want to learn as much as I can. I want to get as much revelation as I can. I want to definitely have a sisterhood, a brotherhood, the whole nine. This is what the program is about. It is at minimum a year mentorship. You can register for 3 months at a time, 6 months at a time, or what have you. So I'm trying, of course, I always try to wait till about 100 people come in before I really start talking. But I have the vision meeting on tonight. Vision prep meeting on tonight starts at 8:30, and then we typically have them I will say every Saturday. I think we're going to move to every other Saturday. So if you register and you say, hey, I want to register for maybe the Saturday after next meeting, you will be able to do that. We're kind of switching things around. I'm going to go ahead and get started because I really don't want to put things off because I don't have a whole lot of time to talk to you guys. So first and foremost, why did I remove the last video? Let me just tell you. I apologize. I had no intention to remove the video. I thought it went really well. Howbeit, once it was over with, my streaming software started to malfunction. Once it was over with, my streaming software malfunctioned, and I saw where it was still saying it was live. Nevertheless, that happens after you close streaming software. It'll still say you're live for like 2 minutes or what have you. And I remember right when I was closing out, my throat was scratching. I was like making that little sound that you make, when your throat is scratching. And I was doing that or what have you. So I went back. I went to my Facebook page because I wanted to block this dude that came on the last one, and I blocked him from StreamYard, but I wanted to go to Facebook to make sure that I blocked him that came on and was trying to troll. And it kept saying live. I waited about 5 minutes; it was still saying live. Long story short, I went back into the streaming software. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I had to go into the dashboard of YouTube in order to shut it down. Eventually, it all went ahead and shut down. When I went back and watched the replay, there's like a between 7 to 10 minute black spot at the end. And right before that, I'm on the camera. Thankfully, it was nothing crazy, but I was on the camera just scratching my throat or what have you. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not leaving that up. Y'all, I'm a person of excellence, even though I do have to stop playing around and get another camera. I am a person of excellence, and that kind of stuff does bother me. It does bother me. And I know somebody would say, why didn't you just download it and edit it out? I figured I can come back and talk about it on another time. I can give you some of the same revelation, which is what I'm probably not going to do. I think I can kind of give you the gist of it here before I go to tonight's interest meeting. And the gist of it here is this. No, YouTube didn't remove it. It was me. The gist of it is this. And I can kind of see if I still have those notes. I do apologize. I know some people are like, yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal. I highlighted some of the things that she said. I still have my notes. And I'll read the 4 things that she said that I talked about in that. Number 1, her and Will have been separated since 2016. My thoughts on this, and these are just my thoughts. This is not necessarily a fact because I don't know what goes on in their personal lives or what have you. My thoughts on that is that, one, I do believe wholeheartedly that she is a narcissist. I believe that wholeheartedly that she has a Jezebel spirit. I do know that she's into witchcraft. You can go on her page and see stuff that she promotes that's witchcrafty, or that's witchcraft. So I do know she's into witchcraft. So it does not surprise me that she needs deliverance. It does not surprise me that, she's going so deep and dark. You have to understand that men and women that get into witchcraft will almost always have a spirit spouse. They will almost always have a spirit spouse. And a spirit spouse sees your natural spouse or anybody that you romantically can link yourself to as a threat to their existence. They're territorial, and they will fight your relationship in so many different ways, including trying to change your perspective with a bunch of ungodly thoughts about your spouse or what have you. They won't allow you to remain married. They don't mind you being in a relationship with other people. They don't mind you going out here doing other things with other people, but a spirit spouse won't allow you to remain married. As a matter of fact, they will try to emasculate and destroy your spouse. And of course, I think we can all clearly see the Jezebel spirit on her. I don't even think that's a question. We can all see the Jezebel spirit on her. And the Jezebel spirit is known for emasculating men or emasculating people in authority. So it's always known for trying to usurp authority or what have you. So my belief in the whole concept of her and him being separated since 2016, she made it really clear that she didn't want to go through a divorce, which was number two. I think I wrote, she said she promised herself that she would never divorce. That is a typical narcissistic move. In my experience with those type of people, they really don't want to leave you. They just want to have their cake and eat it too. They see people as tools. They see people as objects. So they feel like there's something that you have that's beneficial to me, even if it's just your how people see you, right? But I think for in his case, it's his last name. I think in his case, it's his last name. So that's the thing. They see people as tools. They see people as objects. They don't have an ability to love people. As a matter of fact, they don't even have an ability to love their own children. So in my history or my experience with that particular spirit, they will always try to stay connected. Anytime I've had that spirit in someone in my life, they never wanted to let me go. No matter what, they can go out there, they can cheat on you, they can mismanage you, they can be abusive towards you, they can take you through the 3 chambers of hell, the 35 chambers of hell, however many chambers of hell it is, but they will never want to let you go. And they will actually get mad at you. They can be abusing you. You can have the mistress coming over to your house showing you videotape of them. You can catch them in the bed with somebody, and they will get mad at you. They'll get mad at you for having the audacity to want to move on. They will get mad at you for having the audacity because even though they don't love you, even though they don't care anything about you, one, they're territorial, so they don't want you to be with anybody else. Number two, they see you as their property. And there is some type of benefit that they're extracting from you. There is some type of benefit that they're extracting from you. So they're going to try to find some type of way to keep a door open between you and them. They'll cut ties with you, but then they won't close the door, right? They'll cut ties with you, but they'll still keep you on Facebook. They'll cut ties with you, but they'll try to find some type of way to keep the door open between you and them because they see people as objects. They see people as tools. They collect souls. And so they're always trying to make sure that they can still extract that benefit. And another thing about Jezebel that you have to know is that Jezebel is a master of emotions, a master of gaslighting, a master of manipulating the mind of people, right? Especially if Jezebel gets married to you, what have you. That spirit, because you got to understand that's a spirit. We understand it in the natural realm as narcissism or the narc or what have you. But that spirit is a master. This is why it becomes a familiar spirit. It becomes familiar with you. It becomes familiar with how to navigate your emotions. It becomes familiar with how to play you, like an instrument. You to that demon are not just an outfit, but you are an instrument to that demon. So it learns how to manipulate you and master you. So for example, it knows how to make your day go from warm to cold. It knows how to make you go from up to down. It knows how to do that, and it knows just what buttons to push or what have you. And that's another one of the reasons why somebody who has that spirit is not going to want to let you go, because they've mastered you. And if they move on to somebody else, they haven't mastered that person, and they don't know how other people are going to respond. They know that some people will cast them aside. People who have the Jezebel spirit typically deal a lot with rejection. They know that people will cast them aside. They know that people would get rid of them. They know that. And so they like to stick with people that will stick with them. They like to hold on to people that will hold on to them, or what have you. So again, in my experience with that spirit, they almost always, they don't want to let go. Even if they move off and they get a restraining order and move off to Siberia somewhere, they're going to still try to find some type of way to have an open door, which is one of the reasons why Jezebel wants to have kids with you. If you ever met a man that when you got with him, it's like you've been knowing each other for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or what have you, or the first time you're getting ready to get intimate, prayerfully, that was back in your BC days, right? But he comes up to you, he looks you square in your eye, and he says, I want you to have my baby. I know this is fast, but I want you to have my baby. And you're like, bro, no, it's too early. He said, I know what I want. I know you're the one. I can see us with a big family. Then, in many cases, you're dealing with a narcissist, because a narcissist master soul ties. They're always trying to create a soul tie, a legal tie, or a soul tie, a legal tie, or a material tie. A soul tie, a legal tie, or a material tie. I can say, for example, a financial tie. They're always trying to create some type of tie between the two of you so that you can't walk away, because they know that they're going to mismanage you. They know that they're going to mistreat you. They know they're going to mishandle you or what have you. And so that's one of the things. And I had number 3. Again, guys, I took the last one down because even right now, I come on video, my throat is doing this crazy thing. But the last one, the video, at the end, the streaming software would not go off. And I was on the end scratching my throat and all this other stuff. And then too was this black spot, just like 7 to 10 minutes. And I didn't want to leave that up. She was shocked when Will referred to her as his wife. And these are things that she said. She was shocked when Will referred to her as his wife after slapping Chris Rock at the Academy Awards. She was shocked. And again, this is all centered around how she wants people to perceive her. Hey, and basically how she wants them to perceive him. I noticed that when she was saying that, she was doing something that narcissists almost always do. They will run you crazy. They'll twist, manipulate, play games with your mind. They'll be like, are you okay? Are you good? They'll keep doing that kind of stuff. And then they'll always try to spin a narrative to the world that there's something wrong with you, to the people in your circle, your immediate circle, your not so immediate circle, anybody that knows you. They'll try to spin a narrative that there's something, because that's the most effective way to discredit the voice of a person, is to attack their mental health. She was like, I'm worried about him too, what have you. And I picked up on what she was doing, is that she's setting the stage where she can start to challenge his mental health, what have you. And then, people are questioning because he's not defending himself. And, whenever you're dealing, the Bible talks about those who live in darkness, they know not at what they stumble, right? And so when you're dealing with the world, they don't necessarily know why these things are happening. They don't know that people, like, for example, in the world of psychology, even though that's still the world, even in the world of psychology, they can tell you bit by bit about the narcissist and how the narcissist move. In the church, many of us who are familiar with demonology, we are familiar with how Jezebel moves, right? And those of us who study that spirit out, we are familiar with how Jezebel moves. And this is how we can identify our spirit. We see the control, the mind games, the manipulation. We see all of those different things that are symbolic of Jezebel, right? But she said, okay, I was shocked on my OMG. I was shocked when he referred to me as his wife. He had referred me to me as his wife for a long time. One thing that you can rest assured, I can almost guarantee you that she was the one that suggested the separation, because they don't want to be together. Whenever you're dealing with a narcissist, at some point, once they feel like they secured you, once they feel like you're not going nowhere, once they feel like they locked and loaded you and that you're so broken that you won't do anything, they park you. And then they want to go out there, but they'll kind of circle back to make sure that you're still parked. They want to hold you in captivity. They want you to just be there just in case they need you, and they don't want you to level up. They don't want you to go out here and do great. And letting go of Will Smith wouldn't be an easy thing, because Will is so talented. Will is an A-list celebrity. Will can ask for, I don't even know how many millions of dollars just to shoot a film. Even in his older, even though he's older right now, he's still somebody that, the world is still pulling on, but he's still such a major name, right? And so she knows that. And one thing about it, this is one thing I learned about a narcissist. They never want to let you go unless they know that they parked you in failure. I'm telling you this. They never want to let you go unless they are sure that you're not going nowhere and that you're going to fail. They will cut you loose if, for example, she would cut him loose. She would cut him all the way loose, denounce him, divorce him, the whole nine. If he failed so much to the point where public scrutiny destroyed him, if he went into alcohol, had black rings around his eyes, nobody wanted to pay him, and his money was gone, there was no hope for him, she would cut ties for him. But the problem, hear me when I say this. The problem is this: when you're dealing with somebody like Will Smith, who has a measure of strength, when you're dealing with somebody like that, what ends up happening is he's too strong. I remember having a brother in Christ, and I remember we were talking one time, and he told me when he was in a world, this girl that was admittedly a witch looked at him and told him, he said something about witchcraft. She was talking about witchcraft that she did on men, and he said it wouldn't work on me. She said no, it wouldn't work on you. She gave him some type of reason as to why it wouldn't work on him or what have you. But I'm saying that to say that a lot of times, even people in the world, God can empower, God can give a measure of strength too, because God has not turned them away. Meaning he hasn't thrown them away. Meaning God's saying, I'm going to use this person, or I want to use this person at some point. And so Jezebel, they will cut off all your locks. They'll do everything that they can. But as long as there's some light left in you, and when I say light, I'm talking about the presence of God. When there's some hope left in you, they won't leave because they haven't fully finished the job. Right. And I think for him, this is something that's kind of foreign to him. For a lot of us that came up and dealt with, a lot of the evils in life and stuff like that, we've learned that hey, some people you gotta just kind of wash your hands of them. But then there are people out there that I don't even know his upbringing, but they have more of an innocent upbringing or what have you, and it's a lot harder for them to let go. When a lot of us that have had really hard upbringings, we learn in order for you to retain your mental health, your clarity, or what have you, then what ends up happening is you have to cut some ties. These are some of the notes that I'm just kind of rehashing them. I'm getting ready to get out of here soon because I got an interest meeting, but I took the other one down and I said, I didn't say I was going to come back and preach it. I wanted to just give some notes on some news or what have you, but we're here now. So I said, why not? Okay. Will gave an amazing shout out to her on her birthday 2 days later. She posted a video to her Instagram of her dancing with Tupac back in the day to Will's song. We know that she has thrown Tupac in our face. Like the whole wide world knows that she's obsessed with him, with Tupac. She has given off this thing like she and her, like he was her, like they were soulmates. Like, they were supposed to be together, what have you. She has tried to spin that narrative. And I've talked about this before, even before she started doing that. I've talked about it on this channel, that whenever you're dealing with a narcissist, they always do that. They always do that. They're always, and I'm putting you up on game. They will always try to make it sound or look like there's somebody else out there that is a perfect fit or was a perfect fit for them. And you're lucky to have them. You're lucky to have them, especially when they realize that they're the ones who are quote unquote lucky to have you. They'll always try to make you feel like you're lucky to have them. They try to spin it, right? And so they'll try to make it look like there's somebody out there who had a better connection with them, a more powerful connection with them, a divine connection with them, a supernatural connection with them. But something happened that disallowed them from being together. And typically that thing, is, and I said this on the last video, they'll say something along the lines of, she was in school and her mother called me and her mother begged me to let her go, said that it was going to be holding back her schooling. And I didn't want to let her go. I had to break her heart. But I agreed with her mother. I saw what she was talking about because I was ready to settle down. We were talking about immediately starting a family because this is, and they'll keep on saying, we, this is something that we want. And then after that, I had to let her go. She didn't understand. But after I just talked to her a little bit, we mutually agreed. And so we knew that this was what was best for us. So you almost feel like you are invading their relationship. Like you almost feel like an outsider or what have you. And so that is a narcissistic trait. So that's what she's doing with Tupac, or that's what I believe that she's doing with Tupac, is she's trying to gaslight Will and gaslight the world into believing that Tupac was her dude, and that they had this special, amazing, supernatural connection. When in reality, from what I saw on online, that they weren't even in connection. Like they were no longer even friends. When he passed away or what have you, the guy came on and he said, "Hey, he wouldn't have been fooling with her," which I believe. So he wouldn't have been fooling with her, but that is a common trait, or that is a common thing that narcissistic people do, is that to they have a tendency to sell the idea that, hey, there's somebody else that is just for me, right? There's somebody else that's just for me. And I'm trying to see, because I don't want to preach back through all these notes or what have you. I think the point that I was trying to get you to understand is, if you're a prophet or prophetic person, you will typically see this in you having dreams, right? You may have dreams. You may be sensitive to the emotions of others. You go into atmospheres, you can feel other people's emotions. You may start feeling like, you feel depression, and you think that's your depression, but it's not your depression because it doesn't make sense to you. I walked into this room and I don't understand why I feel depressed in this room. I went over to this friend's house and I don't know why I feel, depressed around this friend. And you don't realize that that's the other person's emotions, right? When you're a prophet or prophetic person, you start to sense that prophetic capabilities, or prophetic proudness, I guess. You will start seeing that in creativity, right? God is the creator. Therefore, you are creative because he made you in his image. And one thing he does with the prophet or prophetic person, he's giving you measures and degrees of sensitivity. And you can tell the degree of sensitivity that a prophet or prophetic person has based on their talent. The more talented they are, the more sensitive they are. Does that make sense? The more talent. This is why you probably asked the question, why is it that some of the most talented people are weird? They can be freak shows, they can be odd, because of their levels of sensitivity, right? Their levels of sensitivity. And one thing for the prophet or prophetic person, and I think you have to hear this, is that you cannot become a slave to the world. Sorry. You can't be a slave to wanting people to like you. You can't be a slave, because people will eat you alive with that. And I think that with him, this is why having a mentor, a coach, is important, especially a mentor, a coach who loves and fears the Lord, that will minister to you in the Lord. I think with him, obviously he needs to get saved. But I think with him, what has to happen is he needs somebody that can tell him, to help him to understand his why. And that can be really hard because he's already successful, right? That can be really, really hard, or what have you. But somebody to help him to understand even the Jezebel spirit, right? I always tell people, if you come across a person, for example, who has had trouble dealing with narcissists and they're not saved, or they're not that into spiritual things, get them a book on narcissism. You don't have to go into the practicality of, or you don't have to go into into spirituality. You don't have to go into that's Jezebel or what have you, but you should give them, if nothing else, you should give them a book on narcissism. I was talking about on the last one how I got family members. I remember getting this book and it said, "I hate you, please don't leave me." I saw it was for borderline personality disorder. And I had never thought about anybody in my family having borderline personality disorder, but I was on Amazon with it, and that thing came and it stood out to me. I was like, I gotta get this book. Now, I'm not gonna lie and say I've read it, but it stood out to me because I'm like, I got family members like that they're so abusive and they're so condescending, and I'm talking about, you're pulling away. Don't walk away. Why you doing it? Why you doing it? And then you're like, look, I can't. I'm not dealing with this craziness, this stuff. Okay. And then they'll kind of switch up and they'll try to be nice for a minute, and then within 5 minutes they go right back to being condescending. Within 5 minutes they go right back to it. And that's been one of those things that's baffled me. Like, how is it that you hate somebody to the point where it's clear that you would even want to see them give up their last breath, but you don't want to let them go? And I had to understand that you're dealing with two personalities in one body. You catch that? You know, you're dealing with two personalities in one body. You're dealing with a demonic personality and a human personality. The human personality understands that, hey, I want you around. I don't understand, but the demonic personality, hates you, right? And so the demonic personality will use the human personality to stay connected. The demonic personality will also make sure that the spirit of obsession is there. So the spirit of obsession will make them feel like, or the spirit of fear, codependency, or feeling like they can't live without you, to make them stay connected to you or want to stay connected to you. And that demonic personality or that demonic spirit will use that connection as a bridge. And this is why this is why it can be confusing with somebody like that. You know, if you married to somebody that's always beating you down with their words, right? Always sitting back there, just showing no love, no desire to be around you. Just it's like you can't do anything right or what have you, and they sitting back and saying stuff like, "I don't know why I married you," and you go and say, "You know what? I think I want to free you because I really don't want you to be tormented by being with me or what have you." They'll say, "Yeah, do what you got to do." You know, they'll say that at first, and then when you start packing your stuff, and you start doing it, they'll come up and they'll say, "Hey, can we talk?" And it's like it's the most confusing thing, but this is when you're dealing with two personalities. This is one of the reasons I always promote. Listen, make sure you know how to cast out demons before you get married. As a matter of fact, make sure you have the discerning of spirits before you even consider dating. Make sure that gift is in you and that gift is strong. You've mastered that gift. Make sure you master the prophetic. That means you can hear the voice of God. Make sure that you are so filled with God. And you do that by seeking God first. You know, putting him first, seeking God with all of your heart and loving him with everything that you are so that you can hear God as it relates to the man that's sitting across from you at the dinner table, right? If you're on a date, you want to hear God because if you don't hear God, what you're going to hear is what that man is saying to you in that moment. What you're going to hear is all the things he's saying to you in that moment. And I said this on the last one. I want to say it again. When people come to you, many times, even the narcissists, most of the time, they're not coming to you with the intent to deceive you. A lot of people think that they are, which is that sets the stage for bitterness. Is a lie. I've been around enough narcissists to tell you many times they actually believe that they love you or that they're in love with you in the beginning. That's just how they are. That's a deception because the enemy knows if I can even deceive this person into believing that they're in love with you and that they want to be with you, if I can deceive them, they're going to be more convincing, right? I can deceive them, they're going to be more convincing immediately. Y'all forgive me, I'm watching the time because I got this interest meeting. I think about this ex that I met when I was 16 years old. Man, and he was a baby narcissist, and the old boy gaslit the crap out of me. No, not gaslit, love bomb. He gaslit me too. Love bombed the crap out of me. But you know, I can honestly say he didn't get to my heart. Now the second dude, when I was 17, got me, but that dude there could not get to my heart. I did allow myself. I tried to close my eyes and go with the feeling, and I let myself go a couple of times, but I never, for whatever reason, I couldn't go, and I just think that's the way that God wired me for whatever reason. But that dude was a master manipulator. He was a master at love bombing, and I can understand why he had so many kids. He was a good-looking dude, but he was also a master at love bombing. Y'all heard me say this. This is why you want to make sure you educate your children on narcissism. Don't neglect them that, don't think that if I tell them about that, that's going to make them go. You want them to know because there are some narcissists out there that are walking around and they're young, right? They're young. They ball still ain't dropped yet, but they're still narcissists. And so you want to make sure that you are educating your children about them. So I'm saying this to say, when it comes down to Will and Jada, God judges Ahab. Jezebel is already judged. Ahab typically gets a greater judgment because he's the one that God has his trust with. He's the one that has a relationship with God. It's no different than if you with a man and he go out there and cheat on you with another woman. You can be mad at the other woman. You can have your little thing with the other woman, but realistically speaking, your greater problem is going to be with the man because that's where your loyalty lies, right? You trusted him. He was the one that was supposed to be faithful to you. He was the one that made the commitment. He was the one that exchanged the vows. He was the one that you gave your heart to. Your trust was with him. Now, the other woman, you're just mad because you're just like, they don't make any sense. There's people out there like that. But it's the same thing with us. Whenever you allow the Ahab spirit to come into you, and if you don't know what Ahab is, it's a spirit of fear, spirit of codependency. It's a spirit of, I don't want to take responsibility, so I'm just going to kind of just surrender or what have you, let everybody else take control. If you are lazy in any type of way, you really don't want responsibility, you are a candidate for Ahab. You are a candidate because Jezebel comes along and Jezebel almost always will take responsibility. Jezebel will always find an area in your life where you are lacking, slacking, where you need some help. And they'll come in and they'll be like, hey, do you have anybody working your books? No, I've been really need. Okay, this is my thing right here. I can, and they'll a lot of times they'll find something in your life and they'll begin to help you in that area. And the goal of Jezebel is to create a dependency. The objective of Jezebel is to create a dependency, to get you to the point where, hey, I need her working those books because my numbers been looking good. I was telling the sister in Christ one time, it was a Jezebel trying to apply for her to work with her. And she said, "You think I should hire?" I said, "Yeah, they really good to work with." I said, "They shoot." I said, "You just don't give her too much authority. Stay prayerful." I said, "But man, they they'll kill the books for you." I said, "Everything you need, they'll kill it. What have you?" I said, "But the problem is, you don't want to give them authority over people. You don't want to do this, what have you." But the role she gave her, she had to have authority over a couple of folks, and she started to ridicule and just really take those people down until she had to rebuke her. Right, right. Now, can someone have both the Jezebel and Ahab? Not really. So typically, I mentioned this on the other one. What usually happens is the Jezebel spirit comes in ranks. So not everybody has the same measure of a Jezebel spirit. Not everybody has the same rank of a Jezebel spirit. Some people have a weak Jezebel spirit. A weak Jezebel spirit can act and behave like Ahab, especially in the presence of a stronger Jezebel spirit. Especially in the presence of a stronger Jezebel spirit, or what have you. So you'll see a person that dominates and controls and manipulates one person, but then they'll get around another person and they kind of fall into line, or what have you. And you're watching the other person control them, or what have you. I think we saw this in bullies in high school. You'll see a bully that's bullying this girl, and you'll see this bully that's just or what have you. Then somebody else come into the classroom, and the bully all of a sudden becomes the victim. The bully becomes the victim, or what have you. So I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. I'm getting ready because I got the interest meeting in about 15 minutes. For those of you who want to be a part of the interest meeting, you still got time to register, but you will have to register right now if you want to be a part of the interest meeting. It was something else that I wanted to share with you guys. Oh, okay. I know what it was. It was something else. This is the reason I came live. I was like, I could just go ahead and ask you guys this. I think I'll ask you tomorrow. We'll talk about that on tomorrow. So I just posted up the information for the interest meeting for those of you who would like to be a part of it. Do me a favor. Be sure to like this. Be sure to share this because I believe that it's going to help somebody. I would also say a prayer for both Jada and Will. Say a prayer. And a prayer isn't God stop her from emasculating her husband publicly. Stop. I think the better prayer in this situation would be pray for their healing and their deliverance. No, more so pray for their salvation. Pray for their salvation. Pray that they give their lives over to the Lord. Because one thing about it is somebody with those type of platforms, if they gave their lives over to the Lord, they have influence. They would bring a lot of people to Christ, right? There would be a lot of people. They would bring a lot of people to Christ. So definitely pray for their salvation. Pray for their salvation. I can only imagine what Will is going through because for whatever reason, I feel like she has something over him. Honestly, I feel like she has something over him, um, something that he doesn't want to come out or what have you. But that Jezebel specializes in that. Jezebel loves to get your secrets. They want to know the different things things that you've done, like stuff you've done when you were a kid, stuff that may be embarrassing to you. They want to know all the different crazy stuff. I think the last one I gave an example said he could have been naked one day, just blackout drunk and went to a party and the person had wild animals in their house, right? He probably butt naked spoon with a cheetah and thought it was her wearing leopard print or what have you. Couldn't take a picture. Jezebel does that type of stuff. They'll take a picture of you. They're always trying to have something on you that they can utilize and they will threaten to expose you or what have you. So the way that you overcome Jezebel in that retrospect is you expose yourself. The way you overcome Jezebel in that retrospect, you're like, hey, before you tell it, I'll tell it. And if you tell it, I'm gonna tell it with you. What's needed to register? Just fill out the form and it's $4.99 to register. We put a registration fee because we had too many people signing up that were not serious, that were just signing up just because they could sign up. So we have a registration fee, which is $4.99. So that's that. I love you guys. I'm gonna let you go. I pray that this blessed you. Be sure to like it, be sure to share it. And we'll talk again on tomorrow. All right.